Other than the fact that he killed at least 24 people, drained them of blood, pickled them in alcohol-filled metal drums, and was never caught, there isn't a lot to say about Bela Kiss, the Vampire of Cinkota. Kiss's story begins in the town of Cinkota, Hungary, at the time about 7 miles or 11 kilometers outside of Budapest in 1900, where he rented a house at 9 Kossuth Street, Kiss. He worked as a farrier and a tinsmith and was reportedly well liked by his neighbors and quite charming, intelligent, and well-read, despite having no formal schooling. He was also handsome with blond hair and bright blue eyes, the latter fact seemingly helping him a bit in his murderous exploits. Details of Kiss's secret life as a serial killer are, unsurprisingly, quite difficult to nail down, largely owing to the man himself never being brought to trial and few primary documents covering the case having survived to today. That caveat noted, it would seem that approximately 11 years after arriving in Cinkota, Kiss married a woman named Marie. A year later, in 1912, Marie began an affair with an artist named Paul Beccari. Soon after, she and Beccari disappeared, with Kiss claiming that the couple immigrated to America. Shortly after his wife's disappearance, Kiss, as with many bachelors of his era, is known to have begun frequenting various brothels, though unlike certain other serial killers, he did not target prostitutes in his murderous endeavors. He was also regularly seen entertaining various ladies of better social repute, most of whom resided in nearby Budapest. As to this latter group, he used his charm, good looks, and classified ads in newspapers to court various women who were looking for a husband, targeting those who were particularly affluent and also had few, if any, relatives nearby. Soon, someone in Cinkota noticed that Kiss was amassing a large collection of metal drums on his property, a fact that was reported to the police. When the collection was investigated, Kiss explained that he was storing gasoline in anticipation of upcoming rationing due to the impending war, World War I. Nobody at this point bothered to look in the barrels. Speaking of the war, in 1914, Kiss was conscripted to fight in the Great War, and he was assigned to the 40th Honved Infantry Brigade. Before leaving, he entrusted 9 Kossuth Street to his housekeeper, Mrs. Jakobets. Details of exactly what happened next are conflicting, but it appears a couple of years later his landlord began to believe the rumors that circulated around town that Kiss had been killed following heavy casualties that his unit had endured fighting in the Carpathian Mountains. Thus, the landlord went to the house to make preparations to rent it out to another tenant. Upon arriving, he noticed an odd odor coming from the barrels. Thinking it was suspicious, he called the police to investigate. It should be noted here, though, that another version of the tale states that the police simply remembered a potential gasoline cache at Kiss's home and went to acquire it for the cause. However the police ended up there, details become more definitive from here, with the investigation commencing under one Detective Caroline Nagy. Over the protests of Mrs. Jakobets, the police arrived on the scene in July of 1916 and began to open the metal drums. Rather than finding gasoline, they discovered each barrel contained an extremely well-preserved nude body. In total, 23 women, including his former wife Marie, and one man, Paul Beccari, the man Marie was said to have skipped town with years earlier, were found. Mrs. Jakobets was immediately arrested, owing to suspicions concerning her ardent protest against the opening of the drums, combined with the fact that Kiss had left her money in his will. From all of this, the police thought that she may have been an accomplice in the murders. We should note here, however, that she was later cleared. Detective Nagy also began to search for Kiss himself, if he were still alive at all. Looking for evidence in the house, the police discovered a room that Jakobets claimed she had been forbidden to enter in her years of service to Kiss. In the room were various letters, including 175 women writing Kiss with marriage proposals in response to his newspaper ads, an album with photos of about 70 women, and also books that touched on poisoning and strangulation. The documents found there, they also seem to indicate that Kiss had been up to his murderous ways going all the way back to 1903, 8 years before he had married Maria, and that 2 of Kiss's ladies had brought court proceedings against him to recover money, but as both had disappeared, the proceedings were dropped. Both women were later found in the drums, and no surprise there. The 2 ladies, they were widows, and they were separately reported missing after being seen in the company of a person named Hoffman, a pseudonym Kiss appears to have used frequently. In all cases, it would seem Kiss would court various women with an eye towards stealing their money, though it isn't always clear whether he always killed the women he acquired money from, or simply the ones who caused him legal troubles, or that he couldn't get the funds from without agreeing to marry them. Whatever the case, at least in some cases, this appears to have progressed to Kiss convincing said woman to marry him, at which point he'd kill her, presumably after she gave him access to her money. For instance, one of the women was a seamstress named Catherine Varga. After being courted by Kiss, she sold her business and left Budapest with him. She was found by the police in one of the metal drums. As for why he was subsequently dubbed the Vampire of Cinkota, the police discovered that Kiss had strangled each victim to death, then punctured their necks to drain their blood. After this, he pickled and sealed them in the drums. Given the exsanguination, police opined that he may have been drinking the blood, despite no hard evidence to support this speculation. Whatever the case, after 3 months of searching, in October of 1916, Detective Nagy finally tracked Kiss down, though he wasn't able to bring him to justice. He found that it appeared Kiss had indeed died, with records indicating he was sent to a Serbian hospital while suffering from typhoid fever, and that he succumbed to the disease. This perhaps really was the end of Kiss, but unsubstantiated rumors spread that Kiss had swapped his body for another soldier's in order to fake his death. Unfortunately, from here we go back to the land of poorly documented rumors. For instance, Charlotte Krieg reported in the book Evil Serial Killers in the Minds of Monsters that in 1920 a soldier in the French Foreign Legion claimed a man named Hoffman, the name Kiss once used, who fit Kiss's description, and that he was bragging about his skills at strangling people. When police came to investigate Hoffman, he supposedly fled and ultimately evaded capture. However, whether any of this part of the tale is true or not isn't actually clear. Likewise, in 1932, a New York detective named Henry Oswald swore that he saw Kiss in Times Square in New York City, but nothing came of it. In 1936, there was also a rumor that Kiss, by this time in his 60s, was working as a janitor in a building on 6th Avenue in New York City, but if he really was, police seem to have never investigated. So I really hope you liked that video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you're looking for more from me, I've got a podcast. It's called The BrainFood Show. We actually talked a lot about this in an episode from last year, I think. But go subscribe to that podcast. We've got loads of great stuff over there. And as always, thank you for watching.